Okay, thank you. First of all, I'm so excited to be here. Oh, wait, we're on the wrong slide. Okay, there we go. I'm so excited to be here and so grateful to be here. And I just want to say before we begin, those of you who are participating, listening in, whatever, watching, you'll need a piece of chocolate or some kind of candy that will melt in your mouth. And if you can't find anything like that, an ice cube, but I would break it in half at least or something. And just be aware it's going to be in your mouth for a while and it'll be a little cold. Then if you can get a foot bath or a bucket or a bowl of water for your feet, don't put it next to your computer. We all know what happens then, but just have it ready near your feet because we are going to do the dance of toes. So I'm Erin, and I'm the artistic director of This Is Not a Theater Company. And I'll just give you a brief introduction to our work, and then we'll head into these interactive digital sessions. This Is Not a Theater Company creates site-based, immersive, multisensory, participatory dance theater that can be smelled, touched, and tasted, as well as seen and heard. Our theater is not something to passively consume, but to co-create. With each production, we ask the audience to perceive the world in new ways, to empathize in new ways, and to practice creativity. So that's a brief introduction to the company. I'm happy to go over that again in more detail for anybody who wants it. But what happened to us as a theater company that is deeply invested in multisensory work, having grown up in sort of Montessori style schools, I'm very interested in how we can apprehend and perceive the world through taste, through touch, through smell, as well as through sight and sound. And for me, most theater wastes all of the senses. In other words, you're in the theater and the idea is to create an emotion, to evoke an emotional response often, or an intellectual response. And you're only using two senses, sight and sound. This is an incredible waste. So we've always tried to use all the senses, including also kinesthesia, proprioception, et cetera, et cetera. And so when the pandemic hit in March of 2020, we started thinking, well, what is theater now that we're all online, and how can we do multisensory theater? And so we had done a lot of digital work before, which is to say, we had done pod plays, or what I now call smartphone plays, because none of us have iPods anymore. So that's a sort of dated term. But we began to create site-specific audio plays in which the audio never changes, but the site is always changing. And the job of the audience, the listener, is to merge those two experiences in a kind of John Cage way, right? And that's what actually eventually makes the play. So the play is not the audio, nor is it entirely the sight, it's the interaction between the two of them. So I began to think at the beginning of the pandemic, okay, how can we take these site-specific audio plays and combine them with multisensory work? And so one of the things that we had been doing in some of our pieces was the dance of chocolate. So here we go now into the dance of chocolate. So if everybody would close your eyes and get ready. Locate your chocolate. Place it on your tongue
and let your tongue choreograph the dance of chocolate.
Okay, so that is one of our pieces. We've actually included that in a number of our live pieces, but also in our digital work. And the idea is that, again, we send you the audio clip, but really, in a certain sense, I've started to call this DIY theater, right? Or DIY digital theater. I mean, in a certain sense, all game playing is DIY, right? But somebody sets it up for you. But this is really sort of, you collect the chocolate, you do the dance, and you are both the choreographer, the director, the dancer, and the person who experiences the artwork. So it changes your positionality with relationship to the work. We also did a piece called Play in Your Bathtub, and it's actually played all over the world. It's been translated into Russian. We've done a Spanish language translation of it. And it is a piece that you take into your own tub. So you get a glass of wine or a cup of tea. I myself prefer wine, also whiskey, bourbon, anything you want to do in the tub, some scented bath oil, a candle, and then you put a warm washcloth, or rather a washcloth dipped in warm water, over your eyes and press play. And one of the dances that we ask you to do in the tub, we call the dance of small appendages on the surface of the water. Its subtitle is like the dance of the little tootsies. And so those of you who now have a bowl of water or a foot bath or something like that, can take off your socks and shoes, put your feet in the water, and get ready to go.
Close your eyes and wiggle your toes in the water. Let your toes play on the water, under the water, with the water. Let your toes chase each other around the tub. Let them splash like children.
I'm actually going to cut this short a little bit because I think it requires a great deal of athleticism if you're actually sitting in a chair. It's a lot easier when you're actually in the tub. And so what I have now on the, what is this called? Zoom screen is a link. If anyone would like to do play in your bathtub in your own home, you are welcome to click on this link and try it. There are some instructions at the beginning for all of the props you need to bring to the tub with you. But again, this is our attempt to merge live and digital theater in such a way that we can try to create multi-sensory digital performance. And that's actually all I have. I didn't realize this was such a short presentation that I put together, but I left lots of room then for questions and feedback and things like that if you have any.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you so much for this. I really enjoyed seeing Thorsten in a bucket of water. So I want to ask Thorsten first. How did you enjoy having your feet in the water and play along with this with the music?
I mean, my feet or my foot is a little bit too tall, too big for that to really enjoy it. It was a little bit squeezed in there, but I think in a bathtub it's fantastic. You know, you really can enjoy. You lay back, you have your eyes closed, you listen to the music, and I think this was the sensation with the chocolate. I really had this sensation with the chocolate because actually you don't think about that, you know. So you close your eyes, you have the chocolate, and then actually and let the tongue dance. Basically, this is wonderful. I mean, it's so poetic, and I really enjoyed it. So I because I'm a person who is just eating, you know, so and because it's sweet, I love it, you know. But it was a completely sensoric sensation, so it was fantastic. It brought me peace, you know. It's good. It's fantastic. Thank you. I mean, it was really good for me. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm so happy to hear that. It's interesting that you mentioned the visual too, because one of the reasons that we ask people to close their eyes is that for human beings, most of the time, the visual is the dominant sense, right? And so when you ask people to close their eyes, then they have to kind of drop into the other senses. So I think that's
and I think nowadays everything is about visuals, right? I mean, and I think the most important thing is anyway for every human not losing the sensoric and the sensation of touching things and feeling something, right? I mean, everybody's just looking at the screens and having glasses on, and I think all these haptic things is super important. Yeah, and it's fantastic. Thank you for that. I really enjoyed it. And also as well because I mean we're always trying and we always want to work with theaters together and people who are maybe thinking as well a little bit different than game developers, and I mean to combine those powers is just like mind-blowing.
Yeah, I agree.
So we have the Amaze Space, which is the virtual environment that all the flamingos are watching this live stream in, actually. And I hope people at home were actually playing along as well with the chocolate and the water. How do you think we could also implement more sensory play inside a space like that?
Well, we also in the tub, we have dances for the fingertips on the surface of the water. We have a massage that you give yourself. And again, you know, we play music for it and you sort of massage yourself. Again, all of this was originally created with the idea of social distancing or quarantine isolation in mind. So the question was, I went to a show a couple of months ago and the show concluded with everyone in the audience giving each other a hug. And I thought, wow, it has been 2 years since I have hugged a stranger, right? Because you just didn't do that during the pandemic. And so what is interesting to me, are the ways in which the pandemic forced theater makers to, we've always thought, oh, theater is live, 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 in person. And suddenly we had to revisit that assumption. So in what ways do digital performances, games, right, play, all kind, VR experiences, et cetera, open up new ways of doing theater? And then conversely, in what ways can theater maybe open up new ways of thinking about the digital, what we think of as digital performance? So site-specific audio plays, things that combine VR, AR, live performance, tactile sensation. I'm thinking now, I've done a lot of, I haven't done a lot of work with, but NYU, New York University in New York, the Tisch program has the interactive, I want to call it telecommunications, but that's not right, interactive technology program. And I've been working with them. So we've been devising things like objects that can talk because they have Arduinos inside them. And so what's interesting are the ways in which we could come together, these different worlds, and see how that expands, right? What is a still life painting that could be in a frame, that could talk to you, that might be activated when you come near to it, right? And it starts speaking to you. So what are ways that we could use digital interactivity in a live performance space, or include live performance in a digital space? I also did a play on Discord, and this is nothing really new, and I can give you the link if I can find it, but it became an interactive play in which our audiences began to add photos and videos and dialogue and things like that. So it became a kind of co-created play. And with my theater background, I thought, oh, well, it will run from Friday night to Sunday afternoon. So it will be a durational performance, but only for one weekend. And a year later, a student came up to me and said, oh, well, your play is still running. And I said, no, it's not. And he said, yes, it's on Discord, and therefore it is still live. And I thought, oh, right. So then we began to sort of add things to it. And I've asked a few people to kind of log in and keep it going. And we don't have that in the theater. We don't have a play that lasts for 3 years. So again, just the fact of being on Discord and talking to a gamer made me think about dramaturgical structures in a different way. And I hope there's some other, tactile things that theater can bring to the digital. That was a long-winded response.
But very insightful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, sometimes we are working together with theaters in Berlin, and I also see that most of the experimentations are actually coming from the off scene. Of course, the big houses also want to have some kind of digital elements and playfulness and maybe new kind of storytelling with all the technology we have, but still they are not feeling comfortable to actually really show it to people. It's always like behind hidden doors, or it's a small stage only. So where do you think where it's going? I mean, I just see it from outside, so I'm not very inside, but do you think that really there is a way to bring the elements together, the game elements, the VR elements? Because it's always like you use it, but it's not live, you don't do this live because so many things can happen with technology, and on stage it's horrible when some stuff is not happening. Of course you can improvise, but this is not what it should be, only improvised, right? Or maybe that's the thing, maybe that's the future of theater anyway, more improvisation. I have no idea, so maybe you can tell me.
These are great questions. I also think you're lucky to be in Berlin, where there's a great deal of extraordinarily brilliant theater going on. I would say that a lot of the big theaters are hampered by the proscenium stage. which divides people into those who do and those who watch the other people do, right? So there's a group of people sitting down being inactive, and then a group of people being creative over here. And I think gaming and interactive theater invites everyone to co-create the event. But the setup then in those big theaters is not, the space is not set up for co-creation, right? So I think the first thing, if they want to be really serious about it, they have to take out all the seats. I don't know that that's going to happen anytime soon, but we can hope. I will say that my students, I just taught a course on digital theater, and my students developed some very interesting pieces. So one was a Twitter play, and you follow these several characters and they're tweeting each other. So you have to, the play takes place in your Twitter feed. So the real tweets of real people that you know are mixed in with the tweets of people who are fictional, right? Fictional characters, which does a really interesting thing to the combination of the real and the fictional. But he also then did this thing where the final tweet happened 5 years later. And so I think there's also that kind of, theaters have to open up to new dramaturgical structures and things like that, right? And gaming has various kinds of endings, right? That's a whole different dramaturgical structure that theater has yet to embrace. We're still operating, I think, from a place of control, like we want to control this. And with a lot of this technology and digital performance, you give up control, and that's part of the fun of it, I think. But there was another piece, sorry, just, and then I'll be quiet.
No, yeah.
There was another piece that a very smart student of mine did, where we were live and we got on Zoom for a little while, and then we got off Zoom to take a lie detector test, and then we got back on. And so audiences and people were in different rooms, and then they would switch rooms. And it was a really fascinating combination of digital technology. There was some AR involved, and liveness. And I think that leads us to whole new ways of thinking about what is art and art making, and what is theater, and what is a game, and what is, in all kinds of ways. I think it's very, very interesting. So, but again, that was a small space.
That means that they should get rid of the stage, basically.
Yes, the proscenium, I think, is the problem.
Okay.
But
the
there's
beginning.
also like the no proscenium, right? They do all the immersive theater and all of that. So there is also, I guess it can also exist next to each other, right? So we don't have to do away with the stage necessarily, but we can also have them next to each other.
Do we still have time to talk?
I mean, the live stream is this is the last for the live stream, and I will say there is on Discord right now. Marie Blank Flanagan is doing they've been doing drone jam, and there is now a session on Discord voice chat. Where they're gonna show the games that have been made during the drone jam.
It just started, or?
And it just started at 6, so you can go there and follow it and join it. Please do for everyone. So, but we can chat like 5 minutes longer. I think
we can have more 5 minutes. Okay, that's fantastic. Thank you very much. But definitely gonna check out Marie Flanagan's work.
Please do.
The drone jam. It's right now on Discord. I mean, back to the theater, because they don't want to lose the audience, kind of. This is what you say. They don't want to lose control of the audience, basically. So they want to, and also the audience probably, they want this, right? I mean, they want to get into the theater, dressing nice, having a champagne or whatever, meeting some people. And I mean, this is something what in the digital world is kind of missing, right? I mean, all this kind of social, whatever, how you say, standards, what they usually know from the theater. Yeah.
Yeah, the social event is definitely missing when you're playing alone at your computer. But I think there's a way to bring that together. I mean, honestly, I think part of the problem is capitalism, right? That one of the ways to make money in the theater is to jam as many people into a single show as you possibly can.
Enough money.
Right. So I think we,
There's
you know,
ticket
if we stop
substitutions,
thinking about, if we stop thinking about money and we stop thinking about proscenium stages and just get rid of the proscenium, take out the seats, we can have a more hybrid experience that is a community experiencing something that is both live and digital at the same time. And there are models for that. I mean, that's not a totally new idea.
Yeah. Yeah, it's super interesting. I like, really like talking to you a little bit more about it. Sadly, we don't have so much time. So the streaming is more or less over now. For today. You've been our last guest for today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And listen, everybody, I'm headed over to the Discord.
Yes,
Check out
exactly.
the,
If there are more
you know,
questions
so let's
to
go.
Erin,
Woohoo!
yes.
Thank you
Yes.
so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
See
Thank
you
you.
soon. Thank you.
See
Bye,
you on
Erin.
Discord.
See you in
See you in Discord.
Discord.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.